Jack.
Levi.
The Book Club from Hell.
Hello everyone, this is Jack with the Book Club from Hell, MGTOW warrior monks who have achieved enlightenment through semen retention and multi-level marketing schemes. Problem: men won't commit, men use women for sex, men calculate while women emote. Solution: the power of the pussy, how to get what you want from men, love, respect, commitment and more, ! Written by Kara King and published in 2012. This book teaches that while it's true that men shape rotate and women feel, women also enter the dating game with an enormous advantage, the female reproductive tract. And King reveals how to exploit this advantage. If you like what we're doing with this podcast and want to support us, we have a Patreon account, the link to which is in the show notes. We release bonus episodes on Patreon, you can hear upcoming episodes early, and we have weekly voice chats with our subscribers. I've also published a novel called Tower, the first few chapters of which are available for free on my Substack, the link to which is in the show notes as well. We also have a Discord server for this podcast on which you can find Levi, me, and plenty of other degenerates who listen to the Book Club from Hell, the link to which is, again, in the show notes. Finally, if you're enjoying this podcast, please rate us on your podcast app of choice, like our videos on YouTube and so on. Feed the algorithm, make it like us, this really does help. So, if you're ready to discover that you yourself are the game, so long as you're a woman, then listen on. Enjoy.
Just before we jumped online, Jack, I was looking at animations of nuclear explosions of different tonnages.
Okay, was that
in
metaphorical for the relationships that led to the writing of this book, or is this just
I was
for
going
the
to draw
aesthetic appreciation of nuclear explosions?
I was going to draw an analogy. Now, my sense of this book is that if this is a fat boy, so fat boy was the bomb
Fat Man.
dropped
No, it
on
was Fat Man and Little Boy.
Little boy. Fat Man dropped on Nagasaki, I think, and it was only like 25 kilotons or something like that. And well, this book would be like Fat Man and female psychology was what was it called again? Practical female psychology
for the
would be
practical
like
man.
would be like the Tsar bomber. So,
So this is surely there's one worse than practical female psychology.
Yeah, surely. Okay, so it's not the Tsar bomber. It is like I think there's one called Castle Romeo. That's pretty big. That's like a 10 megaton or something.
Yeah, so practical female psychology, it's still in the megatons. Whereas I feel like this book's in the kilotons in terms of, I guess, no, you wouldn't call it pickup artist book. I guess relationship advice are books.
Yeah, it is pickup. It is pickup though. She does talk about picking up.
That's true. I've found it much less gross than practical female psychology. Maybe it's because I've met people who are really into pickup artistry, and I found them sort of gross, and it just reminds me of that. Whereas I haven't met a female pickup artist, at least not that I was aware of. Maybe her game was so good that it just went straight over my head.
I think a female dating strategy would be substantially. It's somewhere between Castle Romeo and Tsar Bomber.
Female dating strategy has a higher explosive yield than this one.
Yeah.
This one, this was a lot more temperate than I expected. I picked this book in part because I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot meaner than it actually was. It's obviously written by someone who's had bad relationship experiences in the past, and she's angry about them. But she's also in a much better place now because she talks about her husband, Tattoo Man, a lot, and how much she loves him and how great he is, which really softened it. Whereas female dating strategy feels like it was written still in the place of being really, really hurt after a breakup. And practical female psychology felt like it was written by 3 people who were just incapable of relationships.
The Three Stooges. Yeah. I think female dating strategy was kind of a composite of different mods and stuff and posters from the subreddit, and they're all pretty deep in the in that particular Reddit called the weird mixture of female hormones and Reddit and heartbreak.
and because the red pill, which got, I'm pretty sure red pill got nuked off Reddit when Reddit cucked. No, I think it got nuked off Reddit. It was a pretty gross subreddit.
Yeah.
But it really does loom as the shadow throughout female dating strategy. I just felt like it's constantly referred to, often explicitly, sometimes explicitly, and as such is an integral component of female dating strategy.
Yeah, it's like the unnamed horror in the Silmarillion or in the Hobbit. You know, when Sauron hasn't yet, he's still the necromancer. You know, and they're like, oh yeah, over there in the the Iron Mountains or whatever it was, it's like the necromancer, and that's kind of lurking in the background, causing all the chaos. That's what Red Pill was to female dating, to this book. And then the other book that we had that's in the same category or kind of adjacent is the Sigma Male Bible, which probably wasn't explicitly a pickup artist book, but it had elements of it in there.
Yeah. So becoming a Sigma was, I think, at least in the context of the book, you become a Sigma so that you can get women.
Or at least that's a strong benefit. That's a strong incentive.
Probably the most frequently referenced benefit, because more than anything else, he reinforced, I think it was Bud Watson, the author, reinforced that women are just attracted to Sigmas, uncontrollably attracted to Sigma males, and their tasteful rebelliousness.
Do you reckon Tattoo Man is a Sigma male? By the sounds of him?
He could be. So at the end of this book, or near the end of the book, Kara King talks about how she met her now husband. And he was displaying some pretty Sigma traits of disregarding social conventions. Apparently, she was at a petrol station filling up her car, and he pulled up with his boys in another car and just started catcalling her. And she came over and gave him her number. So the one time in human history that's worked is calling out of your car at a woman. Hey, beautiful. Hey, you're sexy.
Oi, toots.
Yeah,
really
so
whistling. That's why I couldn't do it.
So
I couldn't catcall people.
that's why Levi had to find his girlfriend the normal way.
By building a friendship for 8 years before asking her out. Yeah, it was a slow burn on that one.
But anyway, this guy was a Sigma male, and so he used the shortcut, the hack, of just shouting at women in a petrol station from his car, and it worked.
It's a high risk, high reward maneuver, that one. You know,
it's you've got to love to gamble.
You're looking at maybe a 3% conversion rate on that.
3% being very generous.
Marketing. Yeah, look, if you're a good looking fella, maybe strong Sigma vibes, some broad shoulders, and you sort of, you're
literally just a wolf, a lone wolf who can operate a vehicle, barking at women out the window.
3%, but you can increase your conversion rate if you use Metapixel to retarget the women. Just follow them around the streets, catcalling them.
Anyway, that's a Straussian reading of one chapter in this book. This book is predominantly about how to have good relationships with men, or how to find good men and make them behave as a woman.
How to manipulate men with your vagina and tits. That's not what it is.
Which is not a bad strategy. Like, it'll work. Yeah, so this book, I guess this pull off hoses my expectations going into the book. I picked it because I had a lot of fun with our Moon People episode, with other recent episodes we've done where we've just covered really, really much more frivolous books, so not covering Carl Schmitt or George Bataille or Hans Hermann Hoppe, which is coming up, to just do silly things. And as such, I thought an angry relationship advice book for women would be perfect for two men. And it was actually more sensible than I thought it would be, which somewhat disappointed me, but also was much more pleasant to read.
Yeah.
How about you? What were you thinking coming into it?
It was pretty much exactly what I expected. It was in some ways less obnoxious than I was expecting it to be. And there were elements of it where I was like, yeah, that's how I thought as a dude when I was 25 or whatever. Yeah, I was and there was I don't know if like all of her with a book like this, she's making lots of generalizations. So there's always going to be elements that are not true, or don't fit all the details of actual life. But it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's she didn't crack open the evolutionary psychology.
No, thank God. Oh
which
God.
Was actually in 2012 there was like evolutionary psychology was part of the manosphere.
It was on the up. Yeah, it was on the up for sure. Yeah.
Maybe women, maybe the females as as people in the manosphere call them, with lots and lots of E's, took a longer time to really get obsessed with evolutionary psychology and dating than men.
There was a little bit at the end, right? When you're just talking about like having the control to actually have the child or whatever. But she didn't really she didn't do any women's splaining of like what is
in chapter 12, The Power of the Uterus. I feel like her invocation of evolution was slightly different in that she seemed to be saying that women could make men evolve into better beings, presumably over thousands and thousands of years of concerted effort, by only reproducing with men who respected them. Which I guess, if those are heritable traits, could work. It's a very long-term strategy, and not the sort of strategy that will pay off for the person who's purchased and read The Power of the Pussy by Kara King. So I guess it's kind of evolutionary psychology. It's just a more biologically proactive form of evolutionary psychology than PUA books talking about the cock carousel or all of the arcane nomenclature that they've come up with.
The cock carousel.
The cock carousel. The CC.
That's truly horrible.
We should do another male pickup artist book because they're just much grosser and a lot funnier than the...
We really should.
The two female ones we've read.
We should do The Game by Neil Strauss because it's a classic.
Stone Cold classic.
Stone Cold classic.
A Homeric epic.
In the PUA tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can understand why this book would be exactly what you thought it... what am I saying? Why this book turned out exactly as you expected. I also picked it in part because of the name. The name, and it's got a picture of a black cat on the front cover, at least the edition I have, which is a hilarious piece of visual comedy. So, context. What is the relevant background that helps us understand the book? I don't fucking know. Men are pigs and won't settle down. There we go.
Yeah, and maybe also too many women. Presumably, I'm pretty sure her audience is young women to maybe middle-aged women. She might say all women, but and us in our audience and the Book Club from Hell Discord.
I bought my copy, so I am part of her audience.
And but it definitely feels more appropriate for sort of 20s but
Yeah.
young women in their 20s or maybe 30s, depending on how much experience they have dating and stuff, and definitely Western women. I was thinking about a lot of the advice. I was thinking of women in 12er Islam in like Tehran or something, whether or not this advice would apply. I was thinking maybe the thought police in Tehran wouldn't take too nicely to some of the advice here.
That was probably my main criticism of this book, is that it deals too deeply with women's issues in the contingent and temporal world of becoming, rather than the primordial atemporal issues within the world of being, which necessarily, being part of the world of being, would be present in all contingent becomings based on that world of being, and as such would be applicable in Tehran as well as in the United States.
So she didn't really get to the heart of the matter, did she? In that instance.
I've already written to her and asked for a more primordial version of this book.
She also didn't address whether or not, there's a missing chapter 13, which is throwing oneself upon your husband's funeral pyre.
Is it time to do another Evelyn episode? I guess is the question we're asking each other. Is it time? I think he wrote a book on sex, The Metaphysics of Sex.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one to do. Like,
I think it's 350 pages or so, because I'm pretty sure I'd already looked at it for an episode for this podcast and just thought, I can't be bothered doing this much Evelyn about sex at the moment.
What if we schedule the game and then schedule
the Evolian sex book?
The Evolian
to pair
sex
well
book.
with it.
So like,
and then
it'll be on top of all of our PUA and female PUA books.
We'd need to do a female relationship book and the game to keep things balanced. And then the Evolian book, because it's perennial and traditional, counts as both. Because
do you think that we could find a female equivalent of Evelyn, who's maybe like a female traditionalist?
Surely they're a female
perennialist who's into yoga and yoni eggs and stuff, and talks about like the world of being.
I'm sure they exist. I should look for them. Hey, Chat GPT, can you find me 5 books by female perennialists who are like Evelyn? And
why ask Chat GPT when you can ask names?
Shout out to names.
And then
probably know off the top of his head.
He would know. If he doesn't know off the top of his head, then he can be our conduit to all the GPTs.
Yeah, he's plugged into the GPT nomos, isn't he? He's just continuously manifesting the deep of large language models.
Yeah, shout out to names.
So, problem situation of this book, what's she responding to? It feels like she has personally been hurt by one or more men in relationships and is writing for other women who have felt the same. She is writing from a position of having secured a good man, which is nice. So I guess that serves as some sort of validation of this method. Presuming, let's just assume that everything she says about her personal relationships are true in this book. So I guess that's the problem situation. She's been through the multure of bad relationships with fuckboys and has now found a nice husband, and she's here to tell other women how to do the same.
And that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah,
it's a nice simple book.
It's an admirably concrete problem.
And nicely structured as well. Just 12 powers of the pussy.
Yeah. So this book is, like Levo just said, it's structured such that there are 12 powers that she wants you to learn. And if you learn these powers, then you're going to be able to make men do what you want. You're going to be able to identify good men to date, and you'll date them successfully. So it's good. These relationship advice books tend to be pretty digestible and to the point. There is a difference with the male and the female ones we've read, in that the male ones are basically just how to have as much sex as possible with as little commitment as you can. really, really maximizing for that. And all of the manipulative tactics are just focused on that. There's no consideration for the woman's well-being. It's just like negging her to make her suck your dick or something. They're pretty disgusting.
What was it called? Dreading?
Dread game. That's right. Was that the one where when you're married or you have a long-term girlfriend and she's not appreciating you enough? Yeah, you just threaten to have sex with other women, or you flirt with other women in front of her. In which case, if you're the sort of person who does that, maybe there's a reason why she's not appreciating you sufficiently, or maybe she is appreciating you, commensurate with how much you should be appreciated. Anyway, but I guess the two female relationship advice books we've read, there's an enormous sample size, but a much bigger sample than I ever thought I'd read. It's much more about how to make someone commit to you and be dependable and reliable, which maybe it's just the stage of my life that I'm in now. I find much, much more sympathetic. So they've got that going for them. It is also darkly funny that relationship advice books for men and for women seem to be at cross purposes. The ones for men are just trying to make the men into bigger cads, and the ones for women are trying to teach women how to deal with those sort of men and how to tame them.
I was thinking about that specific issue whilst I was reading the book, that it's like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Cat and dog game, I suppose. And in this instance, it's like we've got a whole bunch of, who I'd say maybe there's some okay stuff in the PUA community around just like confidence building and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some bad actors in the PUA who are essentially encouraging men to just, and especially encouraging young men to basically just be dirtbags.
Yeah.
and so then you've got this counterculture amongst, I suppose, young Western women trying to deal with the whiplash of having these guys just dreading them and stuff.
I feel like I'll be
the real culture war going on here.
I'll be defending this book more than you, because I didn't have that many problems with it, because a lot of the message in this book seems to be, okay, to defend against that behavior from men, realize that they're after sex, and so you're basically bartering with sex. Don't have sex with them until you know they've committed. Which is not unreasonable, and it's not... I don't consider that super manipulative or in bad faith, as I would consider, say, most of the stuff in practical female psychology, where it just felt like they were out to hurt women in addition to having sex with them.
Yeah, in some instances, or if not actively wanting to hurt women, at least not caring at all and being willing to hurt them in order to get what they want. Which I guess and at the end of the day doesn't really make much difference, does it?
And I'm just having, because that was one of our first
You're having flashbacks.
Flashbacks to...
It was pretty early. I feel like that was
Seduction.
sub-episode 10, right? I think it was like in the first
I'm just remembering where one of the authors, Franco's Seduction, where he was talking about how a technique he used when he was talking to women, because women only operate on emotion and no logic. There's zero weight attached to logical coherence for women. It's purely emotional coherence. And so he claims that he very successfully beds complete strangers by talking to them and then just talking about how he's James Bond and talking about progressively more highly emotionally charged topics which have absolutely no logical connection. He's like, oh yeah, man, this really works. So at least this book doesn't have the same complete misunderstanding of how other human beings work as that book. which is it's very faint praise, but considering the competition, it's ahead of the competition.
I would say my only real criticism is that because I find it's fine. Is my only real substantive criticism is essentially that it's very prescriptive in a way. I think like maybe like we said, I think in the female dating strategy conversation, maybe there's some women at a certain point who actually just need to be told what to do whilst they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And they'll just follow those instructions. You'll be all right. And maybe you could say that about this book, but I also think
that's exactly what I was going to say.
In some cases, maybe some of the advice is good if you really have no experience, but at the end of the day, if you've been dating for a few years as a woman, I can only assume that maybe some of these things are tips that would help, but you also just like live your life how you want. She's very prescriptive in a lot of the things that she says, which whatever.
I did think too, it's better than the female dating strategy handbook as well, because that book felt like it was, or it's a compilation of various authors, but as a whole, the book felt like it was written by like quite traumatized women. Either because of a really bad event that's happened to them, or because they went through a standard breakup, which sucks, but is not traumatic. And then in response to it, found an online community, which is just an echo chamber for how terrible men are and how vulnerable women are, and just kind of self-radicalized through that. And as such, the entire book is much more self-sabotaging than this one. In that, I think if someone follows the advice in this book, they're not going to self-sabotage. Like, yeah, sure, maybe they're living according to a checklist or too rigid a script, but I don't think it's going to blow up in their face. Whereas some of the female dating strategy stuff felt like if you follow this, you're just going to sabotage every relationship you're part of because you're so incredibly defensive. So this book was better than that one as well. So this might be the best dating advice book we've read for this podcast. And it'll remain as such until we read the Evolian book on sex, which I'm sure will be not only theoretically useful but practically useful for dating in current year, whenever someone is listening to this, because it's, I guess by its definitionally, it's perennially useful.
So we're just gonna whiz through some of the all, because there's only 12.
Go through all of the powers people need to learn.
All of the powers.
This is an educational podcast.
And then
for the 4 women who listen to us, shout out to you. I suspect our listener group's a sausage party, but for the women listening, this one's for you. Take notes. Apply all of the lessons we talk about here precisely, not just the ones from the book, but the ones Levi and I come up with as well. That'll be really good advice. Apply all of it to your lives, and I'm sure your lives will really improve.
And then we've got at the end. At the end of the book, she's got some worksheets, some assignments. So we've invited. This is going to be kind of like a Fit and Fresh episodes where we're going to invite some hoes off the street. Some like
I've never watched Fit and Fresh. I actually have no idea what Fit and Fresh would
top
look like.
tier, A+ grade,
Fit and Fresh.
Bottom hose off the street. Jackie and Lavinia,
pictures of handbags,
which is just Jack and Levi, obviously. And in casting ourselves on our own little casting couch, we're going to respond to those assignments
shirtless. I need
on
to
behalf of the
see
women
if I can trust
of our
them.
podcast. I wouldn't trust the people in the Fit and Fresh podcast. I wouldn't trust them to
to analyze dating books as we can analyze them.
They claim to have slept with thousands of women.
It's like, I mean, if you've done that, and that's very, very important to you. fine.
It's one metric by which to measure your life.
If that's what you're optimizing for in life, I go for it. I suspect the law of diminishing returns applies to having sex with strangers as it does to everything else. But
yeah, wouldn't you get bored after at least you'd think you'd get bored after a few hundred, surely.
I just like the amount of time they must be. Let's just assume it's correct. The amount of
lying their face off, but yes,
the amount of time that. Like the time commitment of that, don't you have anything better to do than just...
Not if you're unbelievably efficient and have an unbelievably high conversion rate and you have
that is true.
Meta retargeting pixels on all the women in Los Angeles, so you can just...
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many women there are in Los Angeles, but...
There's always a few.
If you can have sex with 100 of them per day, that's actually quite a small time commitment, isn't it? I mean, just 10 days and you're there.
That's a good point. If you've slept with 1,000 women, but you live in New York City, you're still doing pretty shit, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So is it more important? Is it more important to have had sex with a high absolute number of women, or a high proportion of whichever municipality you live in?
Yeah, definitely proportional.
Can you game the systems? Like if I go and live in fucking Rabbit Flats or something in Central Australia, am I going to be a higher status male than Mr. Fresh?
Where half the community are related to one another.
But if you're only optimizing for sex with different women,
that's why Cletus McJimbob, who slept with, I don't know why I picked that name. Don't get offended if you happen to have a name like that. If you have a relation, shout out to J-Man. If you're Appalachian and you've slept with all three of your cousins, all of a sudden you're a prime mover of the PUA community. Yeah, no. So, and we're now you've got these bloody females who are who are now putting out this counter narrative and trying to give tools to these women to counteract Cletus McJimbob on his conquest of the Appalachian communities.
I feel like this is an important theoretical question, and one that it's somewhat related to the topic of this episode, because this episode is about how to counter this. But when we do another red-blooded PUA book, I think we do need to pursue this in more detail. What are the most meaningful numerical metrics for manhood? And of course, they relate to...
Do you think it might be like a composite indicator where you've got to take like your total proportion, like your total women, and then it's something like the sum of the proportionalities of each of the municipalities of the women that you slept with. So what you want to go with is like a lot of women total, but then you want to go to regions where there's not many women and sleep with all the women in those regions.
Yeah, so you just prowl rural areas.
Because if you...
So you never go to a metropolitan area again. As soon as you go into a metropolitan area, it's like in a game when you unlock the map. And it's like you've unlocked the map if you step into New York and you're like, fuck, there are millions of women here that I haven't had sex with. My strike rate has just gone through the floor.
Yeah, you just get
so
sunk.
you can never enter a city if you want to be an alpha male. So are you happy that we've theoretically confirmed that?
That's why I've moved to Hobart.
I've started
to get my proportionality constant.
You were talking about people having sex with cousins just before.
Yeah, it's home.
Shout out to Tasmania. What were we even talking about? Oh yeah, Power 1, the power of controlling your emotions.
Not controlling your man, controlling your emotion.
Yeah, but this is This is
And
like...
here we find common ground with the PUA community.
I was going to say, this is where the two intersect. So, as I learned from Franco Seduction and the other two people who wrote
The other two
Practical Female
stooges.
Psychology, the other two who use their real names, not a funny pseudonym, so I've just forgotten them. So, as they all taught me, women are purely emotional. Men don't have emotions, and women only have emotions. Men are just shape-rotating number crunchers who see the world as Matrix code in Terminator vision. And women, well, but for me as a man, women see the world in an unimaginable way because they only see it as emotion. So there's no visual input or auditory input. It's just pure emotion. They have 5 senses of just emotional input. So the author of this book agrees. Women are very emotional and men aren't. And as such, for you not to get hurt as a woman in dealing with men, unemotional, manipulative men, you need to control your emotions. So, to be generous for a moment, I'm pretty sure what she's saying is don't just fall in love with every man who gives you attention, which is good advice, sure. It's like guys, don't get obsessed with the woman at the cash register at the supermarket who smiles at you. Don't do that either.
Unless she's your cousin and you live in
and you're trying to saturate an area
in the southern parts of the United States. Yeah.
Unless you're trying to defeat Fit and Fresh.
You're trying to defeat Fish and Fresh.
Unless you want to take their crowns.
Do you reckon for Fit and Fresh it's like, when you've just got to grind in an MMORPG or something and you've just got to like run around just killing some low-level monsters to just level up. You've
got to run around having sex with strangers that you don't really want to have sex with just to get your numbers up. I'm talking about this. I've never watched Fit and Fresh. I don't even know what they look like. So I have no context for this.
One of them kind of looks like a gargoyle. Yeah, like physiognomically.
Really?
It kind of has some gargoyle vibes going on. Yeah. I'm not even being mean. I think that's actually an accurate statement.
Must have those mysterious Sigma gargoyle vibes.
Yeah, mysterious.
Unreadable stone face. I bet he's controlling his emotions. I bet he's following power 1 of the power of the pussy, the power of controlling your emotions.
So minor criticism of
I won't have it.
It's not too. It's not. I'm only going to say this criticism once, and the caveat is, it might just be her writing style. She's just trying to be evocative or whatever. But there are times when she speaks just a bit too black and white. It's like, never make decisions with emotions. And it's like, no, you probably should. Like, emotions are informative when it comes to forming. When it comes to having a relationship with somebody, you probably want to have some emotion involved in that decision making.
I'm a TI-89 calculator with my wife. I'm just pure facts and logic.
It's like 10 years I wrote down a purely objective criteria, like her hips must be this wide.
It's a bunch of RPG stat checks.
And if she meets all of those, even if, because you can't, how can you quantify or objectively quantify somebody just being, contemptible? Like Fit and Fresh. Hard to put a number on that. So you could...
What's the gargoyle coefficient on this man?
So, that doesn't get included on the stat sheet. So you just go off objectively verifiable parameters, and then you can just like a heat-seeking missile. You just like move through the crowds of women until you find or women or men in this case, and you're just like, okay, you meet all of my objective criteria. Even though you give me serial killer vibes, I'm still gonna marry you.
Yeah. So
with that caveat, with that criticism caveated and out of the way, I won't bring it up again.
yeah. So she says that this first point is the most important power to learn and might be the most difficult. And I'd agree with that. Like not making decisions based on your emotions. I just don't think it's possible. I'm inclined to agree with Hume when he says that reason is the slave of the passions. And it's like, especially in day-to-day life. Okay, so being really generous, maybe she's only applying this to the stage of evaluating whether to commit to a man. That's when you should try to take away the emotional weight. Even then, though, like deciding that you like someone is an emotional decision. I mean, I can't imagine you'd be terribly happy if you just go like, oh, well, he makes enough money. He looks pretty nice. Yeah, I guess I'll marry him and have his children.
I guess I'll suck his dick. Yeah.
No. You're not meant to
after
do that
you
until
marry,
he's
after you marry him. Yeah, after you marry him.
Yeah, men lose all respect for you after oral sex. Apparently,
I strongly disagree with her about that one. I respect all the women giving me blowjobs. I respect them a lot. really like them actually. They're some of my favorite people in the world.
You're about to rate this book 1 star on Amazon. That's going to be your review. As one of your female readers, I disagree with this point. Yeah. So, what do you want to go on to? Number 2, the second power, the titular power of this book, the power of the pussy.
Now, here's the thing, ladies,
females,
all right, to all three of the 3 women listening to my spouse, Jack's wife, Jack's mum. Stop listening, turn it off now. We're going to talk to the one other woman.
I would really rather. My mum didn't listen to this, actually. I don't know how to ask her nicely not to.
I think she'll self-select. She'll look at this one and she'll choose not to listen to it. She said that she listened to one recently that she thought was a good one.
Oh, that's nice. Shout out to my mum.
Oh no, she listened to us talk about Lolita. I was like, why did you listen to that episode?
The book about child sex.
So who knows, she might listen to this episode. No, so like, anyways, women, listen up. You have something by definition men don't have. I mean, politics these days, maybe you do have something that men do have. I don't know.
This book was written in 2012, though.
This is 2012. This is like just at the very, when did the Caitlyn Jenner stuff come out? All right, let's go. We're going to be heteronormative oppressors on this podcast for just a second. We're just going to assume fairly cis-normative, binary gender sex way of looking at the world. All right, ladies, you have something very potent that men don't have: a vision. A beautiful vision, and that vision is you can make men go crazy with it. You can control a man. It's like
men will go to war for that.
It's like
I'm not joking.
I mean, literally, like some Western civilization's oldest, most important books are about the vision. Remember the Trojan War? All right, guys. Very important, and you need to realize just how powerful that is. And you know what? I actually think that she makes good points.
I don't disagree with this, actually. Like, I think this is true. Point 2 of this book is just correct.
Yeah. Like, men are dumb.
Men, without exaggeration, like, especially when it comes to single men, I'd say 90% of what they do, other than just like sustaining basic functions of life, is oriented towards having sex.
trying to get laid. Yeah. Men will dedicate decades of their life to acquiring the wealth and status and so forth in order to just get laid as much as they can.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that second power of this book, the power of the pussy, it's just correct.
And a good point about this that she makes is, does she make it explicitly, or I suppose it's kind of implicit, is that
Just more a Straussian point.
I think it probably is important for, again, I'm just going to say younger women, maybe in their 20s, to realize what an asymmetric advantage they have,
And just how simple men are.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not complicated.
Men are pretty straightforward.
Unless you have a good reason to suspect that, like, I don't know, you have a stable platonic relationship, and or he's gay and doesn't want to put his dick inside you. If you're a 25-year-old woman in a Western country, I'm not going to speak for other cultures, probably every 20-something-year-old dude that you meet is thinking
Will
about
have sex with you.
Yeah. Would have sex with you if you said yes. Like, yeah. And yeah, it's I've wondered about this before, like,
And an important thing you missed, Levi, is for single men, and unfortunately a bunch of men in relationships, not only would they have sex with you, but they will move heaven and earth to do so if you gave like the slightest indication that you would. So do you have more to say about point 2? I think point 2 is, like, if there are women who don't realize it, it probably is beneficial to realize just
at least
how straightforward men are, how much they want to have sex with women.
Yeah, and again, it really depends on, like, a lot of this is culturally dependent, because in certain other places you're wearing hijab or whatever, and
Arab men want it too. Apparently they're just fucking fiends for porn. Just porn consumption there is crazy. They want it too. They're just, culturally, it's harder to get.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just different dynamic. I don't know if it applies in the same way. But yes, like in the southern states, it's like, what's the most searched term? It's like BBC or some shit. Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
I've been reading enough Bataille to know that so much of the erotic lies in transgression. It's just like,
for sure,
anything emotionally charged is going to get sexualized, at least by men. Men are just going to home in on anything that's emotionally charged and start masturbating to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that, do I want to go down this route?
Where are you going?
I will. I will rank the types of people in this world. Okay, this is not necessarily the healthiest lens through which to view the world, but one way of thinking of it is, like, you could think, okay, at different points in history and at different places in the world, like, it's better to be like one type of person than another type of person in terms of, like, the quality of your life. For example, just a really obvious one is, a couple hundred years ago, being a person of African descent or a person of European descent in, I don't know, like North Carolina or the colony of Virginia or whatever. It's just like, we know you'd just much rather be like a white land-holding dude in that situation. Okay.
Lord Timothy Dexter.
You
want to be Lord Timothy Dexter in every time period.
Because in the world of being, Lord Timothy Dexter is the ultimate form.
He's the center of the wheel.
So okay. In the context of the entire planet at this point in history, you can't do much better than being Australian. Like, Australia is pretty bloody good. Sure, there's some pretty poor communities in certain parts of Australia, but even then, I'd rather be a poor person in Australia than a poor person in, like, Sri Lanka
or something.
or some shit. Like, poor people in Australia get, like, heaps of money off the government and stuff. Like, and houses built for them and shit. So, like, I've been to some remote communities where it was really poor. They got fucking like 5G, you know, it's not that bad. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's levels.
Things can be worse.
Things can be worse. Okay, then you could think, okay, well, would you want? Or you could also say maybe New Zealand would be pretty nice to be a New Zealander, you know. And then within that, it's like, well, you probably prefer to be metropolitan Australian. And then within that, it's like, okay, well, do you not want to be discriminated against based on, say, like race? Okay, well, then you maybe want to be like, you know, I don't know. Like, I mean, Australia's not too bad these days, but, you know, there's still a little bit of racism and stuff. But now there's like, well, but you don't really want to, hey, Jack, shout out to Jack. You don't really want to be a white male in like metropolitan Australia these days.
The most discriminated against minority.
Well, even if there's no edge, even if there's, you know, whatever, it's like, you're also going to just get piled on, aren't you? Like at a cocktail party. Hey, Jack, you've been there before, haven't you, mate? You got no social credit, man. You can't bitch and complain about anything because people will just roll their eyes at you.
They can't handle my vril. There's nothing as potent as white boy vril.
Plus, you don't get any of those like, you know, like university scholarships. It's like there's a university scholarship for just about everything except white men.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't mean it.
You know, you could be a white woman. There'll be a scholarship for you. So what you really want to be is you want to be a metropolitan Australian white woman. Now you're at the apex of all like social classes in and because you're in the modern world, it's like, well, you also get the advantage of being alive today and having all the technology and stuff. So they're doing pretty good. It's just that, yeah, then they get sexually assaulted. So I guess there's trade-offs to it. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's why they need to carry guns as well.
Yeah.
That's the peak of existence.
Again,
a white woman in central Melbourne who's also carrying an illegal weapon.
Because, you know, if that's what I don't like. I don't like that way of looking at the world, which is a very like, what would you say? It's a very what's that intersectionality way of looking at it? Because then you're just thinking about like, oh, who's got it worse than who? It's like, you're alive. If you're not disabled and you're alive and you're living in like Australia or something, you're probably fine.
I just tell those people, I just put my hand on their shoulder and look into their eyes and say, there's one race, the human race. And they always really appreciate it. And that's all I say to them, no matter what they say to me. I just keep saying that there's one race, the human race. It's like talking to a cashier trying to buy a sandwich. It's like, no, can you just tell me which sandwich you want? It's like, there's one race.
Oh, yeah,
race.
sorry, wait. And then to bring it back to the book. Yeah, but within the human race, there are two types of people, and one of them has a pussy, and that gives them much more power. Because now you're going to get like free drinks and stuff at the bar.
Yeah. No, it's so anyway, yeah, the point two is if some women don't realize it, probably is actually quite good to realize it, like plenty of like hetero men, many of them do most of the things in their lives ultimately to get women. All right.
Most?
Yeah, most. Like, I'd say 80-90% of things.
All?
Yeah, very close to very
close to 100%.
Very close to
things.
all.
In a 22-year-old dude's life is basically just trying to get laid.
Yeah. So it probably peaks when you're like 15 or 16, when it probably is like everything you do is oriented towards having sex with a woman. But the problem is, as a 15-year-old, you're such a fucking moron that it's just so unlikely to get to that. Shout out to 15-year-olds listening. I'm speaking for myself.
If you find a really nice rock melon, yeah, it's put a hole in it.
The problem with the 15-year-old mind, at least for men, is that you've got incredible levels of energy oriented towards having sex. The problem is all of that goes towards inventive ways to masturbate. And it's just radiating off energy in that.
Have you seen there's apparently in the United States, there's a teenage boy steroid use epidemic.
Yeah. you
It's like you
Like,
don't have
I mean,
enough
I-
testosterone as it is, man. You want more?
like I'll tell jokes about taking tren and things, but it is pretty worrying when you'll see like a 19-year-old guy blasting anabolics. And it's like if you have problems with how much testosterone you have when you're 19, you might just want to reevaluate your body image. You're more likely to have body image issues than a testosterone issue. And yeah, like they might sterilize themselves for life. They're going to get all of the crazy side effects you do get with anabolic steroid use. It is pretty disturbing that now you have teenage boys using steroids. Like, sure, I'm sure it's very few and it's just more visible because of social media, but it is a concern for people listening.
Now they've got even more energy they need to offset into whatever sock drawer or whatever they've got in reserve. And do you even have enough socks if you
imagine how much
on steroids?
Masturbation would be taking place in a teenage steroid user.
Do you reckon all they're doing is just like shooting up steroids, going to the gym and jerking off?
Yes, that is all of it. And they're eating. And eating.
And eating their
you can eat with one hand.
House and home. Yeah.
I mean, apart from going to the gym, you can do all of those activities while masturbating. So
you can masturbate at the gym. Give me a break.
Yeah, you might get kicked out, but
you just do everything with dumbbells.
With a dumbbell.
one arm chest press. You've always got one arm to jerk off.
Oh no! Well, that's a pressing and a pulling motion at once. So it's a push-pull exercise.
Full body complex, bro.
That's what you explain to the police as they escort you out.
Let me show you my clean and jerk variations.
Just doing this for snatch numbers, man.
I call it the jerking clean, so I can smash heaps of snatch later. It's my warm up.
Chapter 3: The Power of Confidence. I don't. There's not much to this. It's just like, yeah, be confident. I guess part of this, I saw crossover with the Looksmax community in this, and it was only after getting married and like talking to some of my wife's friends that I realized women do this, where they'll pick like specific body parts, be like, oh, my lips are ugly, therefore like no one can find me attractive because my lips are really ugly. And like as a heterosexual man looking at their apparently ugly lips, it's like, no, they look fine. And so a lot of this chapter is about not doing that. And it did feel a bit like some of the Looksmax forums we looked at, where they just obsess over individual body parts and how attractive or unattractive the body parts are, and determine their self-worth on the basis of like how their nose looks.
Yeah,
so a lot of this chapter is about not doing that, and it's a good lesson. That's a good thing to take away.
Something I've noticed that women do, and men who are really into like bodybuilding or
my calves are too small. No one's ever gonna have sex with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll like zoom in on a one tiny little.
Yeah.
I don't know if this goes away with age again. This might be an age thing, but yeah. When I was younger, I noticed that sometimes the women I was dating would just like have some like zoom in on just like my nose or like my earlobes or something. And it's like,
yeah,
nobody except for you notice that. It's 100% because you're like fixated on it. So unless it's really quite gratuitous, in which case, but most of the time it's almost never as big a deal as the person thinks.
And also it's like, for women listening, if there is a body part you feel this way about, I can almost guarantee that to heterosexual men, they don't care. Like I'm so confident in saying that I don't even need to see you to say it. Like it's almost certainly the case that hetero men don't care. Like hetero men just like women. And if you're a woman, like 99 times out of 100, that's great. That's really
that's
good.
great. Yeah. And you see what will happen is like, let's just say you've got some big old flappy earlobes, like just big flappers.
Then you'll go on Pornhub and find that there's an international community of big flappy earlobe enjoyers.
It's like
because the male superpower is to take literally
fetishizing
anything that
thing.
exists and sexually fetishize it. It like could be volcanic eruptions. I bet there's a man who's really into those. It doesn't matter what it is. Men will find something to fetishize. If it's part of a female body, like just every man who's hetero is gonna have something there to like.
And then most other men will be just totally neutral towards your big flappers. And then there might be a very, very, very small number of men who will notice and not like it and find it unattractive, in which case they're not going to hit on you anyways. So
yeah,
it's really a non-issue.
No, I think the point she made that heterosexual men just like women is good. Like it's just so accurate.
It's true. Yeah.
Like we just like women.
Yeah.
Men are pretty simple.
Yeah. Like I like hanging out with dudes, but most, it depends. Like it is nice to hang out with your guy friends, obviously, and without the females around, just have some dude time.
Yeah,
but like honestly, like
barbecuing car parts,
whatever it is that guys do.
Yeah,
and sure, that's cool.
Big
but
titties, fishing.
If it was like, hey Levi, hey, not this, I mean, this might happen, but if pretty unlikely, but if for some reason there was a moratorium on some sort of social interaction and God was like, you can only pick one type of social interaction to have. You can only hang out with chicks for the rest. Well, in this case, like my significant other now, your partner or like dude friends. I'd be like, well, obviously I'm gonna hang out with women. It's like, I'll forego all the men in my
That's how the book club from hell ended. It's a divine intervention.
You can only pick one gender to hang out with. So, okay. I know instantly what decision I'm making.
I'm married until death do us part, so like the decision's kind of made.
Yeah, we already make that decision. And it's a bit different once you're in a committed monogamous heterosexual relationship. If I said anything else, my partner would just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, my wife explaining that one to my daughter. It's like, yeah, dad just wanted to hang out with the boys.
The boys forever.
Dad just wanted to eat weed gummies and watch Predator 2 with the boys for forever.
Just jerk off. Yeah, I just don't. Look, I love my guy friends.
You wouldn't believe how many different types of porn there are. Men don't need us anymore.
Not even remotely surprised. Yeah, so look, women are awesome. So
like just for hetero guys, women are basically the best thing in the world. And if like that's a useful part of this book. If someone reading it doesn't realize that.
I don't understand MGTOW. Like we need to read a MGTOW book. That's what we need to read.
Yeah.
Because I legitimately don't understand what the deal with MGTOW is.
Are they gay?
But you don't want you're no.
Like, I'm not saying this to denigrate them. I'm actually asking, like, are they just gay? And it's like, well, I don't.
No. They're not. No, the whole point is that they're heterosexual dudes going their own way.
Okay.
And they don't. To me, it's what, and then hanging out on the internet talking to other heterosexual dudes who don't want to hang
about
out
women.
Oh my god, what a train wreck! It's like sometimes I go to different subreddits just trolling around Reddit.
I've given up women so that I can complain about women on the internet.
And sometimes I get to a subreddit, I just immediately think this is a train wreck. People are just
smell
egging each other on.
Screen.
Yeah, it's like It's like so recently Donald Trump got elected, as in like a day ago or something.
Yeah.
And I was reading different Reddit comments just because I knew that it would be a bloodbath on Reddit because there are a bunch of libtards. I just wanted to see how they were reacting. Oh my god, so many crybabies. It's so funny. But every now and then there would be a comment like, I think that maybe this has shown me that Reddit is a bit of an echo chamber, and it's not reflective of how the rest of the country feels. And I was like, you think? And I think that's the same thing with a lot of online communities, like MGTOW and stuff. It's like you're intentionally going into an echo chamber here.
Which, if it's the Discord server for the book club from hell, or our Patreon subscribers, is fine. That's the healthy echo chamber. Other than that, though, I can't recommend it.
What do you think the resonant frequency of our echo chamber? No, 432.
432 hertz.
Yeah. No, but what would be the unifying thing that our Discord would be like, like
an undying appreciation for the two of us, and particularly the things we record together.
I think surely that could, because there's no ideological consistency. Maybe it's just like also lifting, like
maybe
the lifting channel. The lifting channel is like really it's the most active channel. Hey,
yeah, it's great.
And then you got Jack on there, fucking being like, "Look how fucking big my guns are, bro," and everybody's like, "Yeah, can you whip your dick out, bro? Show us how big that gun is, mate." So I'm going to read.
You can't do curls to increase the size of your penis. So there's no point. I'll keep that in my pants.
Unless you do a jerk and clean.
Unless you do jilking with dumbbells. you're in the gym, tying your penis in a knot around one of the 25 kilo dumbbells.
Hey,
do you want to do worksheet number 1, or do you just want to go straight on to point 4?
No, I'll do worksheet 1. I was going to say a really gross joke, but I won't say it.
Is this like when jokes about bombing government buildings flood into my head, and I have to restrain myself from saying them on the podcast, which keeps happening?
What do you call it when an Olympic lifter injures himself while doing the snatch?
What?
Gash.
Let's do worksheet 1.
I was going to try and make it grosser, something work in there, like hitting himself in the balls or something, but I won't. I'll rework it. I'll come another episode.
Workshop it.
Come back. Yeah, I'll workshop it. Yeah,
workshop it with your significant
I'll get the
other
snatch gash
for hours.
For
hours until she leaves the house, because you won't stop talking.
I'm sure that would
it.
be really good for our relationship.
Yeah, it would be.
Shout out to my spouse.
Wake her up at night.
I got it. I got the punchline.
3 a.m.
I know how to make it. Jack, record.
Something really important
Jack,
happened.
get online right now. I made the snatch gash joke work. No. Things I hate about him. This is this is actually a letter from my spouse to one of her girlfriends. Actually, let's not do this one. No, so assignment number 1 of The Power of the Pussy. Things I hate about him.
So this is how you get over a man.
Yeah, write down all the things that make you mad about this man. Let's say hypothetically it was Jack.
Fit and fresh.
What does Lavinia hate about Jack?
Which public figure can we do this about?
From the little insignificant
Anthony
things
Albanese.
to the big things, you want to write down anything and everything that bothered you. Personality traits, physical traits, and even situations that occurred during your relationship need to be on the list. All the bad stuff. All of it! In caps. When you're having a hard time, pull out this list and pull out his dick. And remember why you don't want or need that man in your life, girlfriend. Lavinia here.
He could bench press more than he could squat.
Yeah. You know you fucked
Number
up when
one.
that happens, surely.
No, I've got stumpy little arms. It's really, really easy for me I need...
Jack's got little T-Rex arms.
I've got little T-Rex
wide
arms.
but short.
Which are,
So he
which are
doesn't have very
great
hard
for
moves.
bench press.
Yeah. So, okay. So things I hate about him. So, is there a public figure that we can?
Wait, who are we talking about?
Just-
Who are we talking about? What about Fit and We're already talking about Fit and Fresh. Are there two of them?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Okay, well, let's blend them into one person. Blend them into one person, and I can do this without knowing anything about Fit and Fresh beyond what you've told me about them.
Yeah.
So number one,
their names are they're such wankers.
their names are Fit and Fresh, and I won't hear anything to the contrary.
Hosted by so they've given themselves pseudonyms.
Oh, now I like it.
Myron Gaines.
Yeah, nice.
Spelled Myron Gaines. And so Myron Gaines and Fresh Prince CEO. So that's so Fit is Myron Gaines and Fresh Prince CEO, all one word by the way.
Oh, really?
With capitalized letters.
Man, that sounds like an Xbox 360 gamer tag. Someone calling you slurs playing Call of Duty 4 in the good old
Fresh.
days.
Fresh. So in the first instance, they were lame enough to give themselves these names.
Those are really good names. Those are really good names. So, okay, point one, gargoyle.
What do we hate about them? Well, I don't know which one's which. Which one's Myron? Myron Gaines. Oh, these guys. They've got a huge podcast, so we're punching up. As long as we're punching up, I feel
That's
fine.
why we need. That's why we need to start a fight with them over the internet.
So we can just start some beef to get some clout.
Yeah. Myron Gaines, I'm coming to kill you in Minecraft.
Okay, number one thing I hate about Myron Gaines is that they hung out with Andrew Tate. They had Andrew Tate on, and they didn't invite us.
Yeah, the internet's two biggest masculinity influences.
The other thing that it must be Fresh Prince CEO.
Fresh Prince CEO.
Yeah, the thing I don't like about him is just the gargoyle vibes. I just want to put him up on
You want to put him on a Gothic cathedral somewhere.
Yeah, or on the gate going into.
He can be one of those gutter gargoyles,
yeah.
the ones that the water runs out of their mouth when it's raining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. Yep. The other thing I don't like about them is that they have a bigger platform than us.
Yeah. I'm envious. Maybe let's make that 5 points. Do they have a producer?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, well, okay. No, I'm going to hold that against them. So
they're making heaps of money. Did they have events and stuff where they have hundreds of attendees, if not thousands of attendees? Yeah, they're
let's
huge.
hold that against them too. That's something I hate about them. Yeah.
I also don't like the fact that they have definitely 100% slept with thousands of women each.
No, I really like that. Actually, I respect that. I'll subtract some of the things I hate about them because of that point.
And one of those women wasn't me.
Yeah.
So there, if you are an emotionally damaged woman, the best way to move forward is to ruminate on your hatred for the person who hurt you.
Okay, well maybe this is a way to stop you from contacting the man who's hurt you. I'm pretty sure that's what this is about. So it's so you don't call him or message him. So instead you pull out worksheet number 1 and say, "Oh, this is why this guy's a piece of shit."
I hate the way he used to beat me. Okay.
Yeah, well, that'd work.
I'm not going to call him. yeah, it's fucked up. But we actually did get a request to read there's a book that's something to the effect of "Why Does He Hurt Me" or something like that. Do you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
Or is it Why Does He Hurt Me?
yeah, or it's a book where you can find it, and it is like it's a legit book about women. I think it's mainly about women who struggle to leave like domestic violence relationships.
Oh man, do I want to read?
And I was just thinking, like, we can read all the silly books and it's fine, but you know, we could also throw in a book like that. That would be like a serious conversation.
Yeah. Before recording, I was saying that I wanted to do more dumb, like just silly episodes.
Hey man, we're gonna do the Evelyn sex book.
Yeah, we're committed now.
Okay. All right. Number 2, the power of being the game, not in the game. The game. No, is it in the game or is it the game? No, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's just being the game.
Yeah, being the game. And here's the thing. That's right. When PUA people, pickup artists, they talk about the game. Well, what's the game? The game is getting some pussy. Like, you're the prize.
The game's
girl.
getting as many updoots on Reddit as you can. From your other MGTOW buddies.
I think, like, I don't know. This is the thing about objectification, right? Not in the sense of like Tower and hey buddy, how you going?
Shout out to my book Tower.
Shout out to Jack's book Tower,
which covers a lot of the material
Tower.
in The Power of the Pussy, just in a more literary way. It's actually it's a literary PUA book. If anyone's interested in improving their relationships, I recommend they read and enjoy and rate on Amazon 5 stars Tower by Jack BC.
So I think it might be easiest if I just read a little bit of this because she sometimes has. From this moment forward, you are to look at yourself as if you are a prize to be won. You'll have many men playing and competing in this game, the game of winning your love. Only the best man will win the game. He'll have to do everything right in order to win everything you want him to. So she's talking about it from like the point of view of like you're setting up as a strong, empowered woman. Treat this like a game and you're like vetting competitors. But the flip side of it is that like dudes literally call it the game.
Yeah.
At least guys in a certain part of their life call it the game.
I suspect that she's using this terminology in response to that. It's like the recognition that, like these guys are dedicating huge amounts of time to trying to work out the correct cheat codes to make you bed them. And they're ultimately competing for you. I guess it's tied into point
for
2.
your pussy.
Yeah. And that comes in later, and how to work out which men are just in it to have sex with you and which ones are worth keeping around.
Yeah.
Do you have more to say about this point? Okay, this point again, it's not untrue.
Yeah, but I think it's probably... Again, that's why it's interesting to think about, like, say, just people with really low self-esteem, just like not having standards for the people they let into their life. To take it away from the sex stuff a little bit, just in general, having enough self-respect, whether you're a guy or a girl, and regardless of your age, to actually just want to have good relationships and not accept people who are bad for you into your life. That's just a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially if it comes to finding a partner who you probably are going to spend, if you're successful, you're going to spend a significant part of your life with them. You should have high standards. You shouldn't just like let the next Joe Blow or Mary Jane or whatever off the street who's just like happens to smile at you or whatever become like too important in your life. So it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. You want to do worksheet 2? What do you want from men that you have been unable to obtain in the past? But I'll read out her prompt.
You read it out, and then we'll
take this time to write down exactly what you want to accomplish with men. What do you really want from a man that you've been unable to get in the past? Is it commitment? Is it honesty? Gifts? Dates? Marriage? These are going to be your demands. You shouldn't settle down with any man until he's willing to give you exactly what you desire. If he isn't willing, then you'll need to cut your losses, control your emotions, and move on to the next man. Men in my life. So I haven't been trying to date them. So it's been mostly adoration, extravagantly wealthy gifts, promotions, listeners and people signing up to the Patreon. Actually, from a lot of our male listeners, that's something that I want from the men in my life. More
But
Patreon
have you been
subscribers.
unable to obtain that?
Yeah.
Well, definitely to the degree that we want, right?
Yeah, where we want absolute saturation of the global male population.
Still haven't hit that $60,000 a month tier. Come on, fellas.
No, we're not getting $60,000 a month from 4 billion men.
Each. Yeah. So I think some other things that I have not been able to obtain is it's like ongoing, stable, heterosexual relationship
With a
I think
man.
that would be with a man. I think that'd be
that is hard
like
to do.
Heterosexual, heteronormative. I think that it's been difficult, but maybe if I open up my heart, the right man will come into my mouth, into my life, and give me a healthy heterosexual relationship with him.
Yeah.
Do you think for women there must be them? I bet you. I don't even want to know. Like that there could be some women who would like fill this out and then just have it just be like a laundry list of just like, I would like the man not to just like cheat on me all the time or whatever. It's like, fair enough.
And that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
And there's probably like, if you've had,
I would like him to be the leader of the free world.
if you've had a succession of really terrible relationships, then to an extent it's probably something you're doing as well, in which case doing things like just sitting down and saying, okay, what do I actually want from a relationship might actually be useful. So I'm not ruling out whether this is useful or saying this can't be useful. It's just like I'm obviously not the target market for this book.
But I think that's oh damn, Bitcoin hit an all-time high again.
Oh really?
What is it? 115 AUD, 115 Australian dollars.
What the fuck? Because I don't check the Bitcoin price. I just buy it and hold. Oh, that's great.
It's becoming exponentially harder to buy and hold. Well, easier to hold, but harder to buy.
Holding feels better and better.
Exponentially. Yeah. So maybe that's something I haven't gotten enough of from other men.
Bitcoin.
Is Bitcoin. Yeah.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not getting much Bitcoin from other men.
I would really like more Bitcoin.
In fact, I've gotten no Bitcoin from other men.
And I would really like more Bitcoin from other men. Yeah.
It would be pretty good if other men listening to this podcast right now would send me Bitcoin. I should put my wallet address in the show notes.
Yeah, do it. Or get a Lightning wallet. Put your Lightning wallet address. Get a burner. Don't want to trace that shit back to like any like layer one.
Yeah, I need maybe a Lightning wallet address because I keep losing my my private keys in boating accidents, and so
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
every time I go out on a boat, I lose my Bitcoin. The power of taking out the trash. Listen, the power of taking out the trash. Take out the trash. Get rid of that girl. Get rid of.
Yeah.
I mean, get
rid of bad men in your life.
Boy. Yeah. When is the time? I feel like people know, right? Don't like. No.
I know so many people who've been in bad relationships for too long and just haven't been able to.
Jack's like the last relationship you were in, Levi.
Let's not talk about that. You can if you want. You should dox her.
No. Luckily, it was a very short relationship, so it's fine.
Yeah, you got out. I don't know. I think when people are in relationships, you can make silly decisions and not see that someone is obviously bad for you for a long time. So I
Yeah,
can you learn that from a
like,
book?
It's
is
more
the
like
question.
a denial thing. It's more like you kind of know it, but you don't want to like own it.
Yeah, and the I know
Some
you know
part of you
it's
knows.
a
Some part of
cliche,
you
but that like the I can fix him, I can fix her thing, or I can make them settle down is potent if you're the sort of person who likes a challenge.
Okay. I want to read out the next list. How to spot a loser.
No, I just wanted to say regarding taking out the trash, I think
Just seeing it.
she gave good advice where she basically said, if your friends and family are saying that he's bad news, listen to them. And I think that's good advice. I think oftentimes people who know you well and care about you but aren't emotionally invested in the relationship are going to be able to see it the most clearly.
Unless your friends and family are trash.
Yeah. In which
If
case,
that's the case,
in which case, you're going to have to
you
find
better- you better
someone
let
to
it
tell you to take that trash out, and then
find like a new community or something.
yeah.
Because there are actually communities that are there's whole communities that are trash. It's fucked up to say, but there are actually legitimately like sometimes you just and I wonder what
Sometimes you just have to go no contact with your parents because they voted for the wrong person. Just cut them off completely. The people who person who gave birth to you, the people who raised you, just cut them out. Wrong political party. See you, buddy.
Didn't vote for freedom.
Thanks for feeding and clothing and loving me for my childhood. Now you go.
Okay, so how to spot a loser. All right, fellas. According to The Power of the Pussy by Cara, whatever her name is.
Cara King.
Cara King. I like that she went in Cara King, not Cara Queen.
Cara Queen.
Yeah. Or something, like
Cara King, Cara Queen. Both are nicely alliterative, aren't they?
But she like took the male one. She's like, no, I'm the king. So how to spot a loser. You catch him lying about where he was or who he was with. Unless he was arranging a surprise party for your birthday.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe when he was out seeing prostitutes and doing nangs, he was sampling them to give to you. You ever think of that?
For your birthday.
Yeah.
Hiring prostitutes and doing
Did he go see the prozzies?
It was for you, babe.
He saw the prozzies 60 times last month. Maybe he was really making sure that they were the best for you. He was just road testing them for that surprise party. You ever think of that?
You catch him cheating, even if it wasn't sex, so just like talking. Yeah. Infidelity is gonna sink your relationship pretty quickly.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
Yeah. Stay away from that one. Guaranteed ways to explode your relationship.
Yeah. He doesn't have anything to offer. He doesn't have a car, a job. He's not in school, or he's a grown ass man that lives with his mum. See, I don't know. Like, I know I've got a friend who lives with his parents, and
better cut him off.
And like, what if he's looking after his mum? Like, take a little bit of context, or what if he's Greek or whatever, or Italian? Sometimes they live with their parents
and his
for, like,
mum
a
will
really long
commit
time.
suicide if he moves out.
Yeah, I've got a Greek friend still lives with his parents, but he's like, I don't know, it's like a lot more.
Oh yeah, one of my Greek friends. When she moved out, her parents felt like she'd betrayed them and stabbed them in the heart. Why do you do this to us? Don't you love us anymore?
Like, I just want to be a normal Australian adult. Why have I got to live with my parents until I'm 40?
One Greek friend, like, I'm not going to say her name because I don't know. It's like she doesn't deserve that. But her parents bought a house next to their house and were like, "You're moving in there. You'll never leave." Like, once, great, bought her a house, lovely, thanks so much. It was like, they were like, "You're moving in there with your husband, aren't you?"
We've picked your husband. Yes.
Yeah, he's a nice Greek boy.
A nice Greek boy.
Shout out to the Greek community in Melbourne. Shout out to Camberwell.
It's like we're talking to some friends of ours and we found you a nice Greek boy. You're going to marry them and move in next door. It was like so well-meaning, but I could also understand why somebody would run the fuck away. It was like moose to Brisbane or something. Anyway, he doesn't. He shows no signs of ever growing up and of being responsible. That's fair enough. He has 3 kids with 3 different women. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's a red flag.
So many kids with so many different women. I don't see this thing. I love my dad now. Like, he's I have a good relationship with him now, but. Boy, oh boy, I don't know, like when he was younger, I don't know what the hell was going on with women who decided to like date him. Like if I met a guy these days who was like, oh yeah, I've got like 5 kids to 5 different women, I'll be like, that's great. And just walk the other way.
Damn.
Good for you. I'm going to go over here.
A+ for effort. That's a lot of effort.
But yeah, I was talking to my dad about this recently. I was like, man, don't like, any regrets about like having all these kids with the different women and stuff and all the drama and stuff and horrible, just like, I don't know, stress of all these relationships and people being upset with it. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty tough at times. He's like, but now I'm older, I've got all your kids now. I guess that's
a long-term, it was very low-time preference behavior.
I was like, wow, how did you manage to turn that question around? And I thought, that's a very sweet thing for him to say, thanks, Dad, I guess. I love you too. He doesn't take care of his kids the way a man should. Fair enough. He never buys you anything. Yeah, probably. I mean,
get her some flowers every now and then as a surprise.
You know, hey Toots, you want some lipstick? They look good on you. I don't know, like just
got you a bag of ketamine, love.
got you some nangs and some ketamine. He's in and out of jail repeatedly. Look, I feel like depending on what the crime was, it should just be one and done.
Yeah.
Maybe a family member of mine actually met her husband while he was still in prison, and interestingly enough, like it's almost like that experience is like, you know, prison's pretty rough. It's not as rough as like, I don't know, Peru
in Brazil.
It's still prison though. Yeah. But I always found that interesting. It's like, how do you strike up a relationship with somebody who's in prison? You know, you're really taking a chance on somebody there, but it's turned out to be a really good relationship, and he's a good guy. But whatever. He never buys you anything. He's in and out of jail. He's a drug addict. Yeah, unless it's nangs and ketamine.
Yeah,
in which case you should
just the cool ones. You're just a nang demon. You just love whipped cream.
Okay, so he has no. Just on the note of addiction though, like that is a tough one because also sometimes people develop addictions later in life. You know, like especially like alcoholism or like sometimes prescription drugs and stuff. And this is why like I sometimes think that this sort of book is really targeted at people in the early stages of a relationship, because like if you've been with somebody for 20 years, you're probably going to you've invested so much in that relationship. Like if your husband or your wife develops, say, like an alcohol addiction, it's like, okay, most people are going to stick that out for a while and try to support the person to like get through that. You know, it's like we've got 3 kids and you know, whatever, and we've lived a life together. So like, I'm not just going to just like kick you to the curb. But you know, whatever. He treats you badly. Yeah, fair enough. He has no future, no ambition, or no drive to succeed. Yeah, and I guess that's all relative, right, Jack? Don't you reckon? Like, it depends on the person. Like, for example, like I think it's good if a dude just, it doesn't really matter what it is almost, you know, if it's being a doctor or being a writer or I don't know, wanting to, I would even say like just being a good dad but it's like they're aiming towards something. And if I meet, sometimes it doesn't happen very often these days, but you meet somebody and they're just like, they're not like trying to go somewhere. Just think,
shout out
if you're looking to date someone, like when you want someone, Anyways, he doesn't label you as his girlfriend. Yeah, that's
that's a bad one.
Probably a red flag. He doesn't bring you around his friends, or he treats you like shit in front of him. That's also a bad one. He doesn't bring you around his friends or treats you like shit in front of you. Yeah. And he flies planes into skyscrapers. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's the red
That's
flag.
a bad one. I guess doing that, though, considering the number of virgins those people were promised in heaven, could be considered cheating as well.
There's a nice section on intuition, being a girl's best friend. I back that. I feel like I've like noticed, and also going back to the idea of like your family and friends being a good, like, if you've got a sister, what's your sister's intuition? Or if you've got just you know, I now know, and it's not ironclad. I won't let my family dictate who I'm seeing, but you know, I sort of have a chat with them about, like, you know, whatever, how's things going in your relationships, as you do with your family. And like, all my brothers and sisters, but especially my sisters, like, are big fans of my partner. And I'm like, yeah, she's great. But also that's a good thing. Like,
it's a good sign.
My sister with one of my girlfriends was like, nah, don't like her. Like, wow, come on, she's great. My sister was right.
Where are we? Are we 0.6 now? The power of selective attraction. What was this one about? I don't even remember what this one was about. Oh, that's right. No. So this is the one I think you decide. So she was saying it's a problem if you just are dating men on looks. What you should do instead is be attracted to men who treat you well. It's like if you can do that, then sure.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said about sex. Like that, it's good to. I think sex is an important foundation of a healthy relationship, and there's obviously going to be times when you might not have sex, whatever, for whatever reason, health issues or whatnot. But
semen retention.
Definitely. You definitely need to have
You're
sex.
not taking my life force from me, huh? That's what I say to my wife.
And people who don't think that it's important in a relationship are stupid. I totally disagree. It's kind of this weird balance of it shouldn't be everything, but I'd say you want to find your partner attractive, but also you want to be attractive to your own partner. That's part of the reason why I try to keep active and stuff, is like, well, I don't want to turn into a gross slob that my partner doesn't find attractive. Like, so I think there's a bit of a balance there. I guess it's just about not only dating men, because, I think that's something that I think this is more an issue with men, is I've seen men date
purely
women
on looks,
almost exclusively on looks.
This is a very male
problem. Yeah, it's like, dude, this girl, like, she
girl's
sucks.
awful.
She sucks. Like, and she basically just tells you that she's only dating you for your money. So obviously, I'm not talking about myself here. Like, she's dating you for. I've got this friend. Let's call him Jim Bob. Jim Bob's coming back. Jim Bob. He's like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure she's basically just dating me for my money, because he's got like a good job at like whatever corporate consulting firm or something. And it's like, dude, listen to it. Like, why don't you just date somebody else?
Yeah.
No, she's really hot.
All those considerations, it just makes me feel so glad that, like, I've just not been dating for over a decade now.
Yeah, is it a decade? Hey, so
I've been married for 10 years.
11 years. You started seeing one another. Hey, so 2012. Yeah. No, yeah, 12 years. 12 years.
Yeah.
Since you met. Yeah.
So it in some ways it's nice reading these things and thinking like, whew, glad I don't have to worry about this.
Yeah, so
also,
you guys had like a very, like, I don't know, just I mean, there's no such thing as smooth sailing in life, but like I don't know, like it's kind of always worked with you guys.
Early relationship was very
you
smooth.
tapped out
sailing.
early, yeah.
Yeah,
Relatively speaking, there's always ups and downs with things, but
ups and downs. I think neither of us like drama. Very early on, I made it pretty clear how I felt about her.
It's like very within like a year proposed or something, didn't you?
No, less than a year. It was like a year and a half.
It was like, well, that's really. It's like, yeah, I remember you were just like, yeah, no, she's the one.
And I was right.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 years later.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, actually, maybe that's a piece of advice I can give to the boys listening. If you feel really strongly about a person you're interested in, let her know how you feel. Like it's better to be upfront about this sort of thing. It's going to be scary, but it's going to make everything much easier. Anyway, what do we got now? The power of action.
Do what Jack did.
Yeah.
Lock that shit down.
Yeah. What was the power of action about?
That's why Jack can get away with having a show like this, because he knows he's already out of the game. He's
not torpedoing my chances with women by doing this.
His sigma as fuck. Yeah,
she knew who I was when she married me. The type of person who's liable to start a podcast about weird books.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is you really want somebody who loves you for who you are, don't you? Like,
yeah, we're over dinner last night. It's like, do you want to know about this book I've been reading? Democracy, the God That Failed by Hans Hermann Hoppe.
And my partner would be like, "Oh man, I love the fitness channel on the Discord. It's so funny." She's like, "It's so good. Why aren't you in the Discord?" Well, my girlfriend's in the Discord more than I am. I'm like, fucking great. There's been one or two jokes I've said on the podcast where my partner's been like, "Levi, did you really have to say that?" But
my wife just doesn't listen.
Supportive.
The power of action. What was the power of action about? So for people listening, I read this book in one sitting yesterday because the things are just really, really busy at the moment, and I totally forgot that I had to read this. So the power of action is a bit of a blur. What was this one about? Because the power of keeping busy is point 8, but point 7 is the power of action.
When a man loves you. If men lie about loving us, how can we ever tell when a man sincerely loves us?
Is this the
It's
Prince
very
Charming
easy to
test?
tell when a man really loves you. When a man cares about you, you will see it in his actions. He may not even have to say "I love you" or "I care about you." You know he does by the way he acts. Yeah,
okay. Okay, fair. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's. So most of this stuff sounds super obvious, but this book has sold well. It has a bunch of good ratings on Amazon.
5,000 reviews or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, Cara King fucking cleaned up with this book, so respect to her for that. So
I think you can tell
there must be a group of people for whom this isn't obvious. And
yeah, it's that thing about if somebody's got a history
for them, then yeah,
bad
great. This is good information.
If somebody's got a history of bad relationships, like
yeah. I don't disagree with.
You can see
the power of action.
It's obvious, isn't it? It's like, is the guy spontaneously combusting? No. is he going out of his way? Is he making an effort? Is he actually doing stuff to like?
Is he just
be a part
shitting
of
and pissing
in a
his pants
way?
Every time he sees you?
Or is he dreading you and setting himself on fire?
Yeah.
These are the questions we need to answer. The power of keeping it. No, okay. Worksheet number 3. We've got here.
My offerings.
Make a list of at least 10 things. We're not going to do all 10, but Livinia and Jackie will answer. 10 things that you have to offer, even more if you can get
the
them
book
down,
club from hell
but at
times
least
10.
These attributes can't be physical or sexual, so Jack don't be like, "I got a big schlong, bro.
Got a PhD, a pretty huge dick." That was the first thing I said to my wife.
Don't write down, I have a nice ass. But I do. These have to be personality traits, talents, goals, achievements, etc. Any man would be lucky to have a woman like you,
I'm a
Jackina.
podcast host.
I'm the co-host of the 29th most popular comedy podcast in Denmark.
We might be more popular in Denmark now. We saw that a while ago, didn't we?
Yeah, that was like it. That was we like actually might be. Like,
Look, it seems like at least half the population of Sweden listens to us, so that's something. Anyway, what else is there? Access to bonus episodes without paying for the Patreon, because I edit them and they're on my computer.
I get
if you date me, you can listen to those anytime you want.
I get a front. I get like your wife doesn't even want to listen to them. You're willing to offer them to her, and my partner wants to listen to them, and I'm like, no, you have to pay. So I get a front row seat. So one of my biggest strengths is I get a front row seat to the live recording of the podcast, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's something that's only reserved for like very special.
You can sit in the corner and watch. You can sit in the cuck chair and watch us record the podcast.
Beat off.
That'd be pretty distracting, actually. I think that'd really affect the quality of the episodes.
Yeah. I would say that a good quality of Levi's is.
I can talk about Spengler at length if someone needs me to talk about the decline of the West.
I'm not sure, just like stuff. I guess. Yeah. There.
I've been doing a lot of cable lateral raises, so my side delts are out of control. One specific body part.
I did a fuckload of deadlifts today.
Yeah,
I'm really
nice.
happy about that. That's a quite a literal strength.
So Levi's paralyzed.
Yeah. No. My deadlift form is like good these days. Gone way better. I feel like I know you're setting up the lift a little bit differently because you got to like sink your hips down a bit more for like a clean. But I think that cleans and power cleans like legitimately like really amazing exercise. And I haven't even been deadlifting like much recently, just a lot of cleans and squats. And my deadlift this morning was just like way fucking stronger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you see, I don't like deadlift much because I've got my T-Rex arms, which are great for bench press, but it means every deadlift is a deficit deadlift for me. So that's
Jack's like
bending down in half basically to get it off the ground.
He's like basically at the bottom of his squat to pick up the bar.
So that's a plus and a minus for my offering.
One of our achievements is our Discord is growing. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Where we've had a few months over our record.
I can.
Month. Yep.
I may
like
or
podcast
may
is growing.
not be able to prescribe you dexamphetamine and Xanax.
Probably not. Didn't you let your license lapse?
I'm neither confirming nor denying.
But if you could prescribe me dexamphetamine, hypothetically.
No, I'm saying hypothetically in the offerings for a partner.
And endocrinology. I just wish that one of my fucking friends had become an endocrinologist, for fuck's sake. Not one of you bastards.
Just for test injections.
Yeah, and IGF-1.
No, well that's what the really, really sweaty guy with crazy back knee and Norwood fucking infinity at the gym is for. You just come up and ask him what he's doing, what his routine is. And if he can sell you that routine in the gym bathroom.
Can you
inject your routine into my ass in the gym bathroom?
Into quadrant 2 of my butt cheeks.
Yeah.
It's a really good time efficient routine.
Stop trading as well. Just take Tren.
Just take Tren.
Yeah. I feel like we've got enough things that we can offer. collectively. If someone's dating the two of us at once, we'll pool our resources. All right, number 8, the power of keeping yourself busy. This one was about how once you've broken up, in order to stop yourself thinking about him as much, or worst of all, caving and calling him and taking him back, you've got to keep busy. So go and see friends, go to work, go to the gym. This is all fine. This is good advice, I think. What did you think of this part?
Yeah, pretty vanilla.
Yeah, that's like this is fine. Like I don't have much to add. It's like, yeah, this is a good piece of
the power of the super data. Just like go on a bunch of dates. Yeah, look, if you're in that part of your life, you didn't date a huge amount, did you, Jack? Before you dated a little bit, but not like
I dated a little bit. It's just like
I call you a super dater though.
I met my now wife when I was 19.
Yeah, but before that, you weren't.
Yeah,
you're kind of dating a little bit, but
I dated a bit,
not much.
But I just didn't have that much time.
Yeah. Yeah, I went through a brief period where I dated a fair bit after my first relationship as a young adult. Kind of two minds about it. I think it's like if you're not in a, I don't know. I can see both sides of the coin about like going on lots of dates, good exposure, see what you like, see what you don't like. I can also see the other side of kind of like if you're not, I don't know, like I don't necessarily feel like I got a huge amount out of my dating experiences. You know, I ended up just getting into a relationship with one of our friends that we've known 12
Known
years
for a really long time.
Yeah, like same. We all went to university together, and Jack's wife, same university, so we all met in the first year of our undergrad, and we've all been friends since. So it's like it pushed 12 years, and hopefully another 12 or 120 more. You know, like I'm really happy with the people I've got in my life, and I think they're all really good people, and and I'd like to keep them in my life for a long time, friendships and my partner. So I think like maybe I'd say like I don't know. I just, especially this casual dating stuff. I guess there's a place for it if you're just exploring and stuff. But if hypothetically, if for some reason I had to go back to dating, I probably wouldn't have the same throughput of dates as I did when I was in my sort of like mid to late 20s, because there's definitely diminishing returns. And it felt like in some respects like a bit of a waste of time, especially now I'm in my 30s. If I happen to be single again, I'd be pretty selective about who I was going on dates with.
Yeah, so I guess basically everything I have to say about dating should be dates. So yeah, should be taken with a massive grain of salt, because like I've been married for 10 years, so I'm pretty off the market. But one thing with the super high throughput dating that I have noticed with a few friends of mine who are still doing that despite being in their early 30s is they get into this weird headspace of imagining. It seems almost that they feel like there's so much abundance that they become unable to commit to any one person, even if they really like a person, have had a bunch of really good dates together, they get along really, really well. There's always this feeling of, oh, but what if I meet someone who's the same, but he's taller? Or what if I meet someone who's the same, but he has blue eyes? Or the same, but earns a bit more money? And they let a lot of people go that I think actually they'd be very happy with long term because of this feeling of superabundance. And I've noticed that with a few people, and that's a really, really bad mindset to have. That's a
really bad mindset to have, because
that's not going to end
every day. You're getting older every day.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
in your early 30s, if you're looking after yourself, you still can look fairly good. But it's the time to some point you're going to just start looking old. No matter how good,
but also
take care of yourself.
The reality is, like, past a certain age, all of the good people your age have paired up with each other.
Yeah, you might get a lucky divorcee or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you got a ton of baggage.
Emotionally damaged. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's life.
It's not impossible. It just gets harder and harder and harder. So I guess that's one counterpoint to the power of the super data point is that. So this was written in 2012 so she recommends actually online dating, things like OkCupid, Plenty of Fish. I'm not sure if Plenty of Fish is even around anymore.
I mean, it's just gone like crazy.
That stuff's been supercharged, and I guess that is a danger of just like having dating apps as the center of your life, which I've observed in a handful of friends our age, which is it's just a really bad position.
Yeah, and the other thing is that those people they might realize, I don't know, or they just haven't clocked.
Mm.
And I'd challenge anybody who's in super data mode at the moment is you're not getting depth of experience. It's like when you go traveling and you just stay in a city for a weekend or something. It's like you went out to some restaurants and saw like, I don't know, a fountain or something in Rome or whatever. And it's like, but you didn't really actually get to know the place or the people or the culture. And you could spend years of your life and people do like high speed digital nomad stuff. And I guess you can have a whole bunch of like peak experiences, but it's like
a lot of novelty.
A lot of novelty, which might be what you want. But at some point it's like just nice to just stay in a community and put down roots and, I don't know, form long-term relationships. Same with dating an individual. It's kind of the same thing. You don't really know what a person's flaws are until you've known them for a while. And also, like, sometimes they're good characteristics. Like sometimes people, for example, like resilience, you're not going to see whether or not somebody's really resilient under challenges unless you've seen them for long enough that you can see like them come up against a challenge in their life and then see if they actually like push through it.
But also the feeling of hitting a real challenge in your own life and having someone there to support you. You're not going to find
friends.
That's when you really know you've found someone to keep around.
Yeah, when somebody actually like puts up with your shit.
Yeah,
for like 6 months. You're like, you come out the other side of the other 6 months or 12 months, and you're like, oh man, glad I made it through that. You're still around. You're a keeper. Oh boy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oftentimes it is when something bad happens and the person you're seeing is still around at the end of it that you know, yep, this is the person to keep around. And you don't find that with high throughput dating.
No.
You have to take a bit of a leap for that.
And almost not universally, but a lot of the time when people are out dating, it's normally because they're in a good enough state of mind to start like meeting people and stuff, you know. I mean, maybe there's some people who are just chronically dating.
Oh no, I definitely, but I definitely know at least one person who does it as a distraction from other problems in their life. And it's like that is also a really bad position to be in.
Yeah, I don't.
That's good.
But maybe when we were younger, I might have.
Yeah.
If you have stable relationships and stuff in your life, that gives you a lot of like energy to then go and explore and challenge yourself in other ways. And
you're not bleeding off energy as well.
Yeah, whereas like that high novelty, high throughput sort of wave, it's like a lot of energy just goes into, I don't know, in this case, dating. You're just meeting the person, setting up the next date, having a bunch of emotions. If you're drinking whilst you're going, as it's very common, it's like, well, then you're drinking a bunch of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say it's categorically bad advice, the super dating thing, where she says, she uses the metaphor of, it's like menopots on a stove. You know, you can be cooking 4 at once to see what you like. I think PUA people like to use spinning plates as their metaphor. That's fine. Like people can do that, but maybe it's just temperamental. I really don't like that. And
I tried the multiple dating thing, and I have friends who do it, and I can't. I really don't even like have enough emotional capacity like for you know, to give the proper amount of attention and care to like a single person is like very energy intensive, and I put all my relational energy into like my partner and a few friends, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how you put. In particular, I've got this one friend who is always dating like 3 or 4 people, and then it says like every time I see them, they're like it's like the roster has changed, and it's just like just all the time. I'm just like, it sounds fucking exhausting.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, but you know, different people have like what makes them happy or whatever. The
Number
power
10.
of acting like a man. Yeah,
Yeah.
number 10. Let me pull
So
it up.
men.
and then I'll do the yeah.
I think in this part she hits on something that is probably true for a lot of hetero men, and that the sort of number of women in my life have been really surprised to find out. So she said that men divide women into like women that you'll date or take home to show your parents, and people that you have fun with. And I think that's the case for a lot of men. Whereas like my wife said, no, it's like for me there's a type of man. It's like there's a man that you date, and that's it.
And then there's
So
the ones that you don't date.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if someone doesn't know that, it's probably pretty useful to know that like male attention, like you can get plenty of attention from men by like just having sex with them, but they mightn't respect you, and that they might not be willing to date you. Or it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be willing to date you if they're willing to have sex with you. So like that's a useful insight for people who don't know that. I guess the other power of acting like a man is she says that women reading this book should do that to men. They should have men that they just have sex with, or interact with in an emotion-free way, and then men they take seriously. I don't know, because that you've got point 12, which we'll get to and talk about in more detail, the power of the uterus, where she really emphasizes you can have an accidental pregnancy and you got to be careful, which I think is great advice. The power of acting like a man, I wouldn't force it if it doesn't come naturally to you. That sounds like a way to make yourself miserable if you're not inclined to think in that way. And forcing yourself to have a number of dates or relationships with people that you're emotionally distant from because you feel like that's what men do. If that doesn't come naturally, you're going to be really unhappy.
I'd even go a little bit further and say, like, if you think that's a bad thing, which I think, like, reading between the lines, it's like, that is a bad thing. Like, people, it's like, why are you saying that women should just do it in reverse? Like, maybe the solution here isn't
it's
to,
like,
like,
this is bad behavior
groups
in
of
men.
people. It's bad behavior in men doesn't mean it's a good behavior in women.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some sense it's progressive equality, but I would prefer it go in the other direction, where it's like men just behave better.
That's a bit of a race to the bottom rather than a race to the top. Yeah, I had this one experience with a girl I was dating. It must have been about a year or so before I got together with my partner now. Like, where the girl, treated me like, well, you know, it wasn't too bad. Like, I'm not going to bitch and complain about it too much, but like, it was a bit like flippant, or no, maybe not flippant, just like disregarding of like my experience in the relationship and how I was feeling and stuff. And it's like well, I didn't like it. I was trying to like I don't really like this dynamic of the flip side is if then, you know, treat another person like that. It's like, well, now I'm the douchebag. It's like, don't be a douchebag. Try not to date people who treat you badly. I know, like, it goes both ways. So there's probably like maybe one of the other things about the book is it's kind of acting as if men don't have feelings.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for other dudes, but like, I don't know. Some of my male friends are really sensitive people. They don't want to be treated like this.
Yeah, yeah. She also does say men are really confident in dating, and
Not true.
women try to imitate that. I'm glad we give off that appearance of confidence in talking to women. That
There's nothing more
we're
nerve-wracking than
interested
going
in.
on a first date. Almost
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, it can be fun, but like, like, oh, I've just met this girl that I'm really attracted to, and I don't know anything. Like, I'm gonna go out and just like hang out with her. It's like I'm not confident. I'm gonna do my best to make it look like I'm confident.
Yeah.
And then say something stupid. Hey, you know, and especially if you. This is the other thing is you don't want to like pretend to be somebody that you're not
Mm.
on a date, because then when inevitably like the other person understands who you actually are, then you're running the risk. I always took this attitude when going on first dates and second dates early on, and it would just like really just be myself, because I don't want to end up in a situation with like trying to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. That was the only thing that I went in with. It's like, don't have to be confident. I just have to not pretend to be somebody I'm not.
All right. What do we? Oh, my perfect dream man. Here's another worksheet. Let me pull this one up. Okay. Write down 10 things you really want in a man. This is different from the assignment earlier that asks, what do you want from men that you've been unable to receive in the past? The list is all about your dream man. If you could design your perfect guy, what type of qualities would he have? You can list physical, sexual, emotional, or financial attributes. Don't forget to be reasonable. You can come up with as many things as you want, but narrow it down to the top 10 things your perfect man would have. Now, I don't want to be reasonable at all. So, number 1, billionaire. Number 2,
300 kilo deadlift.
Yeah. Number 3, 3
squat.
meters tall. I want 300 centimeters, and I won't accept
12
anything.
inch dick.
Yeah. What's 12 inches in centimeters?
Three testicles. 30 centimeters.
In cm. Yeah, 30 centimeters. That's it's inconveniently large, isn't it? That's what I want. What else? Will live forever. Immortal. So my children will be immortal.
Yeah.
Is that heritable?
Is immortality heritable? I would also like it if he had Valkyrie wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Likes Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd just like it if like he were Bitcoin.
If he were Satoshi Nakamoto. Is Satoshi Nakamoto. And if Satoshi Nakamoto isn't 3 meters tall, then I can't date anyone, because my dream man is it's just a category error.
It's not a 3 meter tall
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Crypto villain or hero, depending on your perspective. All right, the power of appreciation.
What was this one?
It's the guy appreciating you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
Basically, a man who's really committed to being your man should be willing to do whatever is necessary to demonstrate that he loves you, and he values you to the degree and in the way that you should be valued, that you deserve. I don't have anything to say. It's like, yeah,
Sure,
you should
it's
appreciate the people in your life.
Appreciate the people in your life. That sounds good.
I think about death every day. and the shortness of, I've got a book here. Right here, within an arm's reach of the table. Look at this. Seneca. You know who gave me this book, Jack?
Oh, yeah.
You gave me.
Was that me?
Yeah, on the shortness of life. Talia, here's something that I hope will help you in life. This is 2000, so this is 6 years old, this book, The Shortness of Life. You know what? We're 6 years older. You got a little baby now.
I tell her that she's going to die every day.
whisper that I want her first words to be death.
Just lean into her little pre-verbal face. Death's coming for you too.
You're gonna fucking die.
The void approaches.
And I think like one of the things that's made me appreciate people more, Jack, our audience, San Marzano, Pavlik, Hyleek, all the other people on our Discord who've shown up, our partners, our friends, is just like, you're going to die. And I feel like lack of appreciation of being alive, but also lack of appreciation of other people, like really, it kind of stems from like almost like an appreciation of just like how special it is to be alive. And yeah, you know, the unfortunate thing is like you don't get to control like when the person that you love is going to die. Or when you're going to die, you know, for all you know, you might wake up tomorrow and the person that you love is dead, and the last thing that you did was have a fight with them about like, I don't know, like some mundane fucking thing, you know, like lame. So it's not me, it's us. We have and we've been pretty good at implementing this. My partner and I. Like if we've had a bit of a like, you know, a tough conversation or whatever over dinner, you know, whatever's happening, we have an agreement that like we'll never like go to bed. With bad, you know, like we'll even if whatever the issue is can't be resolved, you know, because it might be a complex thing or it's ongoing or whatever. But like, okay, but before we go to bed, we're gonna like put that aside. We're gonna say, all right, we're on the same team, like, you know. This is an issue that we need to overcome together. It's not you versus me. And like say goodnight, go to bed like in a good mood. Not necessarily in a good mood, but you know, like result with some sense of like resolution and like coming back together again. And you know, like doing that, like having that agreement between it's been like one of the best things ever because never. You know, I know it's like, okay, I'm hot and up in a fluster right now, but you know what? Yes, we're gonna sort this out tomorrow. I love you. You know,
another good thing to do is learn how to say sorry, especially if you've done something bad. Or if you're the one in a shitty mood, learn to say that you're sorry.
The one that I struggle with is like, I'm just being a fucking grouch right now.
I'm being unreasonable.
I'm just being a grumpy motherfucker. I know it. And I don't want to say I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. Yeah.
Power of the uterus.
Yeah, power of the uterus.
Yeah, this is I think this chapter is pretty good. Just
you know what those things are for, right? Making babies.
But her point is like you can get pregnant. It can happen from just having sex once, and it's ultimately the woman's responsibility in that she's the one who has to grow a baby inside her. Like it's very in a very physical sense her responsibility, and it's like, you know, a man who say has a one night stand with you and gets you pregnant, he can just disappear. Like it's not something I respect, but he can do that. And so be really, really careful. And that's not bad advice.
And now that Mein Führer Trump El Presidente has taken over and they're going to be outlawing abortion everywhere.
In Australia.
In not just in the United States, but in Australia, the 54th state of the United States. They will, you know, you're not going to, you know, as soon conception is the start of life. That is if
sexual desire is the start of life.
Sexual desire.
That's when it begins. Before preconception.
Yeah. No, okay, what are you supposed to say? Like, yeah, you can get pregnant.
Yeah. Be careful.
And you know, if you're a woman and you want to get an abortion, it sucks. It's so generally, I've never spoken to a woman who's had an abortion who's like, yeah, that was a great
yeah, that was
experience.
great. Or it's like, I feel neutral about it.
It's like, I feel neutral. It's like, no, it really sucked. It was really stressful and emotional, and or physically painful. And if you don't get the abortion, then
Baby's a lot of responsibility.
yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
And there's also single dads who are obviously the reverse. So the reverse does happen. It's just, I suppose, it doesn't happen as much.
Yeah, I think there are way fewer.
A lot fewer, yeah. And and like single dad, if like the mum walks out or whatever, like the mother walks out, yeah, tough. Like just being a single parent, super tough. But super tough. Like, fucking kids are hard. Like try to do one on your own, far out.
But also in the like for this book too, like pregnancy is tough. Like it's not
by itself.
easy.
Yeah. Imagine trying to like being a woman doing a pregnancy by yourself, far out. This makes me appreciate my mum a lot more, actually.
this last chapter, The Power of the Uterus, is it's good. So she does try to turn it into something empowering because, each chapter is a power. And she says, you need to make it clear to a man that it's his privilege for you to carry his child. Which, like, yeah, it is. It's a massive, massive, massive cost for a woman to be pregnant. And if she decides to carry your child, it is a huge privilege. But yeah, I think this chapter is a good one. It's like to really make you think about, do I really want to sleep with that person? I guess this is something we haven't brought up much, even though she talks about it in basically every chapter, that you shouldn't, as a woman, give away sex easily because most men will just have sex with you and leave. You got to make them appreciate it. You've got to screen men for people who want to commit to you rather than just have sex and then run away. And that's kind of been in the background of the entire book. Like she talks about it all the time. And it's probably the most relevant in this last chapter of he can get you pregnant and that's going to change your life.
Yeah, which is not an unreasonable.
That's totally reasonable.
Yeah, it's fine. That probably a lot of... It's just me getting old and stuff. What's the right term for it? Is it? I don't... The term family values is probably like too politically charged, but just like... I don't understand. Maybe it's just because we came from Melbourne. In a part of Melbourne, it's just like such a swamp of woke crap ideology that so like denigrates family.
Family is very stable, which
very
is
important,
really good.
And there's obviously like having a partner is the it's not the only point of having a partner. Isn't only to have children. It's also companionship and building a life with somebody and yada yada. But it's definitely one of the big things. It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
And it seems like I don't know. I get maybe it's just because I'm in Hobart now, like out of Melbourne, where I'm away from social circles that I think like really, like devalue families and stuff. Like I think thinking if you're in your 20s and you're dating a lot, especially if you're a super dater, like you gotta think, like, how long do you want to live? And the majority of your time, if you're successful in your quest for a partner, will be spent with a single person, and you're going to go through like you're going to see people die. You might have a child with disabilities. You might yourself have a disability. You're going to see tragedies. You're going to have ups as well, and like there's almost like a frivolousness to that stuff of just like super dating in big cities and everybody's anonymous and you just fuck like 10 people a week and then like never see any of them again because it's like it's like whoa, I suppose it's just like a culture of people doing that. I guess everybody's treating each other like that, but I don't know, at some point I guess like waking up to like there's a lot more to life than doing that sort of stuff.
I guess like casual sex is really fun, but there's opportunity cost.
Yeah.
like ultimately being in a long-term committed relationship for me is better than having lots of casual sex.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, you have to make a trade-off, but
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty good trade-off.
I guess I can't. Obviously different people have different values. So I guess I don't want to be prescriptive like I'm criticizing this person. It's just, as you said, it's a trade-off.
That said, with this person, she regularly talks about her husband and how happy she is and how attracted she is to him and how good a father he is. And I did like that. It's the goal, it seems, for her in this book is getting the reader to find a man to settle down with them. And
maybe she would say something to the effect of, well, me going through this process enabled me and gave me the skills and experience and so forth to be able to, like, when I finally met this particular guy, I was emotionally available and I knew what I wanted and I had the confidence to, like, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I think, fair.
I feel like that was the long-term goal motivating all of this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for me, being in a long-term committed relationship has made me very happy. So I think that's a good goal.
Yeah, and to be fair, between the ages of 0 and 19, you were just crushing tons of puss nonstop. So.
Yeah, especially when I was 6.
Crushing puss. One of the worst sayings ever. There's just so many gratuitously, like, horrendous ways that men talk about female anatomy. I wonder how girls. I've never asked.
I think ham purse is just my favorite because it's the most disgusting.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are a bunch of, like, I suspect it's asymmetrical that men have way more.
I suspect it is
gross terms for women than women have for men.
I think
that's my operating assumption.
Probably do have a few funny words, but my guess is that it's not nearly as many.
And I suspect men have more gross and funny words for male anatomy than women do. I just think we're on that metric. I feel like we're strongly outperforming the competition.
And then men also have that, like, whole typology thing as well, right? Like, just
just categorizing everything as various types of Pokemon. We need to do an episode on categorizations of different men in the gay community, because in the Sigma Male Bible episode, when you walked me through some of the various terms for different types of men,
chickens,
the chickens and the chicken hawks
and twix and
the twunks and twinks
and beavers and giraffes.
We are, and bears, big hairy bears,
and gophers.
Yeah, we need to do an episode on like the gay Pokemon, the gay classification scheme.
I bet there's a book on that. So really important questions. This is the last assignment of the book. Very important questions. Some of you have this stuff figured out already. For those of you who don't, take a moment to think about what you want from your life. Think about what you want from your future, what you want your future to be like. Don't be afraid to dream big. Answer these very important questions. Where would you like to see yourself in 1 year?
Nobel Prize in Literature for Tower by Jack BC, available
and then
on
another
Amazon.
one. Where would you like to see yourself in 5 years? Another Nobel Prize?
Another Nobel Prize in literature. I want 5 Nobel Prizes in literature in 5 years.
Where would you like to see yourself in 10 years, Jack?
I think you could extrapolate how many Nobel Prizes in literature I want in 10 years. What about you? How many Nobel... Well, you wouldn't be getting the Nobel Prizes in literature because I'm going to be winning 10 of them over the next 10 years. But which Nobel Prizes do you want in the next 10 years?
What is your dream career, Jack? Just winning Nobel Prizes.
Just winning Nobel Prizes.
Nobel Prize money. And how much money do you want to earn per year? How much
professional Nobel Prize recipient.
How much money do you want to earn per year? Just like how much they give a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. Just the number, the amount that you get for a Nobel Prize times the number of years. And I'm giving none of it to charity. I'm blowing it all on yachts, big houses, monster trucks, fireworks. I'm just going to buy as much coal as I can with my prize winnings and just set it on fire. That's actually, that's what I'll do with my prize money. I'll try to maximize carbon emissions using my prize money. I will work out the most carbon inefficient use of my money and put all of my money into that. Yeah,
well,
actually, I think that's
It says, Kara King says, do not be afraid to set big goals. So you go, girl.
Yeah, my big goals. I will cause a noticeable shift in the climate because of my consumption of my Nobel Prize money. That's my goal. That's my goal.
and the,
I think that's a really good goal.
And grow the book club from hell to 1 billion monthly active.
I
listeners.
feel like I'd get enough infamy from causing the Earth's climate to fundamentally
Nobel
change because
year.
of
10 years.
because of my sacred use, my sacred highly carbon intensive use of my Nobel Prize money. So we'd probably get a lot of new listeners.
There's one last chapter, which is basically a discussion of sugar daddies and quote unquote sponsors, which is basically like, what do you think of women using men for money? Using that pussy, monetizing that pussy.
I don't know if both parties know what's going on. Like, I know, like a 70-year-old who's really fucking wealthy that an 18-year-old has taken a real interest in. Like, he knows what she's there for.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean,
if everyone knows what's going on, like, who fucking cares? Whatever.
Yeah, so like Martin Scorsese's wife was born in 1999. She's 24 years old. Francesca Scorsese, I think.
How old's he?
He's oh no, that's his daughter. Sorry, sorry, Francesca. Let me see. Current spouse. No, sorry. I'm sorry. It must be. Oh no, sorry, no, not Scorsese. Sorry, I'm throwing Scorsese under the bus. I'm sorry, my man, Martin.
I'm sorry, Martin, my personal friend.
It's Robert De Niro. Yeah, De Niro girlfriend. Tiffany Chen. Is that she's age? I'm pretty sure. Oh no. I'm throwing Rob De Niro.
You're just slandering all of Hollywood.
I'm slandering all these big.
Such a reputable place. And you're just casting aspersions on its good name.
I'm sorry, I take that back. I don't want to get sued.
Hollywood isn't full of pedophiles. I just want to make that very clear for this podcast. Hollywood is not full of pedophiles.
There was one of the big actors who's like very old. He's like 80, has like a 20-year-old, 25-year-old girlfriend or something, and like just got pregnant or something, and
she loves him for his body.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Is like, yeah, we all know what's going on there. Like, she just wants the money. Like, she's like, I'm going to put up with however long you've got left to live. I'll put up with it because then I'm getting all that, like, all those royalties from those fucking films.
He's going to be one of those guys who just lives to 110.
Yeah, she's going to have to put up with
fueled by pure spite.
Yeah. I think if it's consenting,
whatever. Like, we all bring to the table what we bring to the table.
I wish people would pay me for sex. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Like, give me. No, I shouldn't do that. Yeah. I think that, my only thing would be like, is there like some, because there's consent and then there's like quote unquote consent where it's like, well, it's actually, there's like some element of emotional abuse or something. But as long as there's no abuse and it's consensual and stuff, then yeah, I don't give a crap if women use their power over men to get a new Mercedes or whatever.
Get bags of cash, get tons of Bitcoin.
Get heaps of Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to use, you get born and you have the assets that you have access to. Some things, like, and some things you do. You got to work with what you got,
Yeah.
Nobody's come to save you.
Yeah. I don't really care about that sort of thing.
Okay, rap questions. Wrap it. This has been a very, very long episode.
This has been a long one.
A remarkably long episode. It's been nearly 3
I did
hours.
appreciate, actually, I forgot which part of the book it's in, where she starts talking about how much she loves listening to rap and saying that you can listen to it in an empowering way because when male rappers talk about hoes, you can actually, as a woman, flip it around and think about male hoes and just kicking them to the curb. And then she listed a bunch of rap for you to listen to and feel good about yourself.
That's been one of the big
that
cultural breakthroughs recently in the last, I'd say, especially the last 10 years. Like
stripper rap.
Stripper rap, yeah, that hardcore Atlanta stripper rap and shit, and like Princess Nokia out of New York and stuff. You know, 'cause there were female, you know, like Lauryn Hill, obviously, but you know, Lauryn Hill wasn't coming out here with WAP. Cardi B doesn't give a shit. She's like, I got a wet ass pussy. You love it, and I like your big dick, and put it in here. It's just like the playing field has been leveled.
Probably written inspired by The Power of the Pussy by Cara King, which did predate WAP by quite a number of years.
Could you imagine if like Cardi B
two of
came
them
out and was like,
got together?
I just wanna give my girl Cara King a shout out, you know. It's because of you, girl, that I'm here. You really inspired me. That'd be so funny. Yeah. The world has changed.
The world is perhaps closer to Cara King's vision in some ways than it was in the past. At least you have luminaries like, is it Megan Thee Stallion who's responsible for WAP?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. Anyway, whoever is responsible for that song has brought the world at least in terms of means closer to the power of the pussy, if not ends, because I also doubt that song is about finding a man to commit to you and have your children.
Does long-term committed monogamous relationship make your pussy wet, baby?
Yeah. Anyway, would you recommend this book?
Not really.
I probably wouldn't. I feel like most of the advice in it is things people probably wouldn't know. It's like, okay, for example, the power of the uterus, that final chapter.
Maybe.
How many women aren't aware that they can get pregnant? Maybe it's good to be reminded, but realistically, how many are going out having sex?
Maybe I would
just
recommend it
completely oblivious to the fact that they can get pregnant.
I'd recommend it under very limited circumstances, which would be like to probably a younger woman who maybe is just like in and out of relationships or something like that. Or maybe not necessarily young, like, you know, because I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. I know. There's some people you just need to. This book could be a little bit of just a little tap on the wrist, like, hey, come on, come on, knock it off,
buck up.
But outside of that small, actually, no. Actually, no. I take that back. I think I also would recommend it to maybe like 2 into PUA. Just like read a woman's perspective on it. It's like they don't like it. You should knock it off as well. Like,
no, they're just
if anything, like female.
This book's a female psyop.
FDS, female dating psychology.
Trying to break the MGTOW brotherhood.
Female dating. What's it? FDS strategy, and this book and other books. It really is like if I could get whenever I was into pickup. It's like read this. It's like clearly. I mean, also you could just talk to women and ask them what they think of it. They're just like, it's gross. Stop.
How am I meant to ask them that if I'm negging them? That sounds like it's taking away from valuable negging time.
Yeah,
100% of your communication with women is negging. Even at work, like writing emails to co-workers, negging in those too. You're actually just negging all the time.
You become a MGTOW and start like wearing a wig in the mirror to neg yourself, just so you can keep your negging skills sharp. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think there really is. Yeah, those are the 2 categories of people I would reservedly recommend reading the book to.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. My feelings are pretty similar. For most people, I'm not sure how helpful this book is. But for a small group, it might be useful. Sure.
This has been a long episode. We managed to really stretch that one out.
Really gave people a good idea.
I desperately need to go and spend quality time with my spouse now.
Yeah, quality negging time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
do
And
some
thanks for
negging.
listening.
Thanks for listening.
Get your necks up.